Bucks face the Indiana Hoosiers in the NCAA tournament, and it's the first time they've been in the tournament since 2009. They are 29-5, one of the best records in the tournament.
That's pretty good. You always want to root for your local team. I have not filled out a bracket. I quit doing the bracket a few years ago. I do follow the mocks, though, so obviously rooting for them.
They play at 7:10 tonight. We'll talk a little more about that. But, you know, my conversation with John Goodman, we're going to talk a little bit about that. You've got a whole, I mean, you're talking about a whole grab bag full of stuff. And we do want to let everybody know that tonight is the Thursday night network meeting at P5 Preparedness.
That's right.
6:45. What is tonight's theme?
Yeah, the meeting is 6:45 to 9 o'clock. It's free. We ask that you call ahead just so we can save you a seat. We've had to the point where we're just about standing up. The room has been full the last several meetings. We've been talking about planning. And if you have an emergency, what's your plan of action? And the scenario that we had given everybody was, if you're at home, let's say you've taken the Friday off, you're sleeping in Friday morning, your spouse is off at work. We assigned everybody one child. You may have 4, you may have 0, but for this one, you had 1. And they're in school. And you have to figure out what to do when you wake up and you find out that there's no power, your cell phone doesn't work, no electronics work. You go out to start your car or truck and the truck doesn't start. And you're thinking, don't know what's going on, but I think I better get my kid from school. Or what's your plan? Is your wife going to get your husband? Are they the ones that are going to get your kid for school? And so the assignment was everybody has to bring their plan to the meeting tonight, and we're going to help you troubleshoot it. That's something that a lot of people think everything is going to work in their plan. Well, we're going to give you some things to consider. We've been doing this long enough. We're pretty good at troubleshooting plans, and we'll come up with things that you haven't thought of. And so the network meeting, even if you haven't been in the prior meetings to this one, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to learn an awful lot from that meeting. We've got a special for this week for our radio listeners only. We offer a number of classes at P5 Preparedness, and we're going to give you 50% off any of our classes. And that could save you anywhere from $15 to $30. It's usually in about the $25 range of savings. And that's quite a good deal for you. And we want to get you involved with preparedness. And some of the classes that we have coming up this month, this Saturday, we've got one of our most popular classes. It's our bug out bag class. And we'll teach you exactly what a bug out bag is used for, what to put in it, and what you don't need.
And like you said, this one fills up in a hurry. I know Seth is I think Seth is at the store right now. Give him a call at 423-602-2175. That's 602-2175. And go ahead and reserve your spot. Because like Duke says, this is probably your most popular class. Wouldn't you say that?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Okay. And that's going to be this Saturday, the 19th.
Right. Saturday, the 19th from 1 to 4 o'clock. And then next Tuesday night, we've got an essential oils class. And a lot of people think, well, essential oils, that's for the smell good stuff at the massage parlor, things like that.
I'd already booked to come in and get a massage. And when they said you were teaching it, I said, well, wait a minute.
This isn't that kind of class. There are a lot of really beneficial essential oils that will help with healing, especially. And that's important for a grid down situation where you may not have the right medications to help heal yourself or cleanse yourself. So that's a very important class. On the 26th, that's next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, we've got a tactical trauma class. If you look on the website for P5 Preparedness, it's p5preparedness.com. You click on the classes button.
That's the number 5.
And you just
number 5, right?
Right, yes. And you just drop down and you go to the maps, and it's called Basic First Aid. Well, we're changing the name of that class because that's not really what that class is. It's tactical trauma. We've got a combat trained paramedic, Dr. David Powers. We've had him on the show before. He's going to come in and teach that class. He'll cover chest seals and tourniquets and a lot of the other things that go beyond basic first aid.
And I want to say something. I want to give you guys kudos because I know you and Seth do a lot of the classes, and Dr. David does class. They're all, not only are they informative, but they're going to hold your attention because entertaining is probably not the right word, but they're going to give you good information. They're going to probably make you smile, and they're going to make you or help you remember what they teach. And that's very important. You know, a lot of classes you go to, you leave there, it was so boring and stuffy that you leave and you're going, what did I just do with 4 hours of my life? But not at P5. They make an approach, and it's a real world approach. That's the other thing. These aren't made up scenarios, you know, that comments are going to fall on the 26th of April or anything. This is for everyday preparedness.
Right. And these are taught by somebody who's been in combat, he also worked for FEMA, and he responded around the country to different disasters. So he's got a really good perspective that he can give you. On the following Saturday, April 2nd, we're having a first aid, CPR, and AED certification class. You get your certificate and a wallet card that's issued through the National Safety Council. We are an authorized trainer for the National Safety Council, and those are some great classes to have. And as I said at the top of the show, there are a lot of emergencies that you're going to come across that obviously you don't plan on emergencies. It's kind of like accidents. Accidents happen. You know, there are people that have been victims of an armed robbery. Well, they're a victim. They didn't know anything was going to happen. They didn't know something was going to happen. Well, that's the same thing with car accidents. Or if you're out in the woods on a hike and you get bit by a snake, there are techniques that you need to know to help save that person's life. CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and the AED, automatic external defibrillator. Everybody needs to know how to use those skills. Very critical. I've had to do CPR twice, and the first time was I was driving down the interstate and I witnessed a devastating wreck on the interstate, and I went back around to the scene of the accident, and when I was checking the victims, there was one person that was in the front seat of one of the vehicles, and he didn't have a pulse. Well, you know, that's a bad situation there. You don't know what caused the accident. Was he the driver? And did he have a heart attack while he was driving and that led to the accident? Or was it from injuries that were from the accident? Well, so that was the first time that I did CPR. I pulled the man out of the vehicle. I started doing CPR, and when I did the first chest compression, I knew there was an issue because his ribs had been crushed in the accident. And so that was a situation where it was not successful. And the second time that I say that I did CPR, but it was actually my skills of assessing the victim that made me realize that I didn't need to. And the situation was where I was at work, a fellow coworker passed out on the floor. His eyes were open. For all signs that I could tell, he was dead. I felt his neck, I felt his wrist for a pulse, and he didn't have a pulse. Well, we went and got our AED from the break room, and I hooked it up to the guy, and you followed the directions from the AED, and it told me that there was a pulse detected and that I didn't need to start CPR. But the guy was breathing very faintly, and he had a very faint pulse that I couldn't detect, but the AED did. And so we kept him there. We kept him stable until the ambulance arrived, and he made a full recovery. And it ended up that he passed out from a diabetic incident.
And, you know, that's what I was talking about earlier. These are real world incidents. The world didn't end. There wasn't some, you know, massive alien attack that killed everybody, but those are real world things. Duke was involved with help someone in a wreck or at work. I mean, that's very common. Someone at work could have, you know, a heart attack, a stroke, or whatever, heaven forbid, and you need to be able to respond to it.
And I put swimming in that same category. You don't have to go to a lifeguard academy to be a lifeguard. But if you're a parent, or if you're taking your kids out somewhere where there is standing water or rushing water, if it's a river or a creek, you know, I can't tell you how many news stories I've read where somebody jumps in the water, or a kid is in the water swimming, and they don't know how to swim, but yet their friends are in. Their friends talk them into it. They're into the water. All of a sudden, they start to drown. And the adult who's there, they panic. They want to rescue the person. Maybe it's a child, a son, a friend, somebody you're responsible for. But you jump in the water to save that person, but you can't swim yourself. There have been situations where 2 or 3 adults have drowned to the point. I mean, drowning means you're dead. You know, they drowned trying to save somebody else while they couldn't swim.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know how to swim, or your kids don't know how to swim, don't take them to the lake or the pool or the river. Don't put yourself in that kind of situation, because it could end tragically.
I want to tell everybody, look, we in Chattanooga are very, very fortunate to have P5 preparedness in this city, because it's not just going, and you can do this, you can buy and stock up on food or medical supplies or whatever, but it's this great resource of people that are passionate about what they do, and they want to teach you real world things, first aid, real world things like that. So give those guys a call over there at 423-602-2175. That's 602-2175, P5 Preparedness. Make sure you get in. They've got the network meeting tonight. And then, of course, they're going to have their bug out bag for this weekend. You'll need to call, because both of those fill up in a hurry. And that's 602-2175, P5 Preparedness. Are you prepared for the rest of the show?
I feel like I'm pretty prepared. I've got some good notes today, so I think we'll be able to make it through. I usually have enough to talk about. One of the things that I do want to talk about are the distractions that we see in our lives. A lot of them come through the TV, the idiot box. And it's an idiot box, not because it's stupid, because it makes us stupid. We're focused on the things that we see on the screen instead of getting out and participating in life itself. The first thing that we see right now is politics. Man, this is the craziest political situation I've ever seen. I've followed politics fairly closely in my lifetime. I gave up being a Republican in 2005 because I was so fed up with the direction of the party, and I've been an independent ever since then. And, you know, even while I was fed up and frustrated, I've never personally been as angry as I have at the political situation that's going on right now. You know, you've got politicians on the right, the Republicans, that are just beating themselves senseless. We have a true front runner in Donald Trump, who is getting blamed for a lot of the problems that we're seeing. And you hear the establishment Republicans saying that, well, they're not going to let him be president. They're going to have a brokered convention in July at the Republican convention. And it came out yesterday that one of the Republican leaders, it's believed to be the head of the GOP, he said that the voters don't choose the president, they do.
I read that.
Well, you know what? And I have to say, first and foremost, technically he is true, because the way that we elect president, the voters, we vote for the candidate that we want, but we are really voting for members of the Electoral College, right, that are then going to vote for
in the primary,
the president.
It's delegates, and then during the general, it is the Electoral College.
Yes. Well, boy, let me tell you, there's going to be some problems if the majority of Republicans pick Donald Trump, but they don't pick him for the party.
You know, I don't think that's going to happen. Just kind of, you know, I watch it. It's entertaining. I told you earlier before we come on the show, I got rid of cable. So for the past week or so, instead of watching all the politics, I've been watching reruns of Wonder Woman. So my perspective may be a little different right now. I'm kidding.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So, but no, you're right. It is entertaining. And I think Trump, of all people, has captured that. We are, our society, we want to be entertained all the time. You need to entertain me. You know, you have to do something to entertain. If not, I'm not going to pay attention to you. And he gets it.
Isn't Wonder Woman the Secret Service name for Hillary Clinton?
No, Blunder Woman is hers. Blunder Woman. So, yeah.
But the thing with this is that, you know, I watched the whole rally that Trump had in St. Louis. That was the one that was the night after all the distractions that happened in Chicago. That's the event where he canceled his speech because he didn't want violence. Well, in St. Louis, there were probably 15 or so protesters that stood up during his speech, and over he would say, "Get him out of here, get him out of here." That's pretty much the extent of what he said. But yet the mainstream media, you had John Kasich, Rubio, you had Ted Cruz, all saying that he should be banned or whatever for inciting violence, and he did nothing of the sort.
I think he challenges too. He challenges the Republican establishment, to a degree, the political establishment in Washington, but he also challenges the media. The media is so used, they love using political correctness. They're so used to going after people. And if you don't act and say what they want you to say, then they go after you. And all of a sudden you cow down and you apologize. And I'm so sorry I said that. And he looks at them and thumbs his nose at them and says, I'm going to say it again and again and again and again.
Well,
and they don't know what to do.
And he also had made the statement that if he is not the one that's selected at the convention, that there could be a lot of, I don't remember the word he used. I don't think he used the word riots, but demonstrations. There's going to be a lot of pissed off Americans. And I think he's right about that. Then on the flip side of that, you've got a leader for Black Lives Matter. He goes by War Machine 3 on Twitter. I don't care about his real name, but he is encouraging his people, the people that follow him, to riot if Trump is the nominee. And so we've got a lot of potential violence.
And I want to give a disclosure here. I am not a Trump person. When I voted in Tennessee, I did not vote for Trump. I actually did a write-in vote for Confederate Mike. And I probably had, 40 or 50,000 people that I know across the U.S. is going to write in Confederate Mike. Because Confederate Mike has some great ideas and he's loud and boisterous. He's kind of like Trump, only Trump's a little better looking. But other than that, so everybody write in Confederate Mike.
Well, if I'm going to vote for any of the 4 Republicans or either of the 2 Democrats, if you stick on the Republican side, I would vote, if I was voting Republican, I would vote for any of the 4 that are in the race right now. I would not support Jeb Bush. That's who Rush Limbaugh thinks is going to be picked at the convention, or Paul Ryan, the current Speaker of the House, or somebody else. There's somebody else. Mitt Romney has been mentioned. I think
it's going to be Trump. They can't
pick somebody that's outside the race. But you know what? If they really believe they pick and we don't matter, then that's going to happen.
In the second hour, we're going to be taking calls. Give us a call at 423-800-8949. That's calling live here on the Chattanooga Patriot Prepper Hour at 423-800-8949. Write that down.
Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Picture that curl of steam rising from your fresh-made pizza. And in a flash, let it take you aloft, teasing all your senses. I'm talking about Jet's Pizza. If you eat out at Jet's in Hickson or take home your steaming deep dish square pizza, you'll love Jet's. They use only the best ingredients in a family recipe. Also try the cheesy bread, wings, chicken, or bread with bacon, antipasta or Greek salad. Jet's Pizza at Buy Low near the S-Curves. Open till 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. You can order online or have it delivered. jetspizza.com. That's jetspizza.com. Or call them now. They'll have it ready when you get there. 757-1616. That's 757-1616.
Jet's Pizza, the best pizza in town. 3600 Hickson Pike.
Life is short. Eat better pizza.
Let's get Jets. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake.
Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located in Hickson at North Point. Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center. Downtown 4th and Broad. And in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Money.
On your signature, you can get $150,000. Can you believe that? $150,000 on your signature. Hi, I'm Bruce Krebs with the Entrepreneur Source. There's a program right now that you can get $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral or personal guarantee. Call me at 423-875-5621 to learn more. 423-875-5621. You've been thinking about starting a business? Don't do it on your own. I have a proven track record for the last 13 years, a 96% success rate. I can guide you into a franchise where you will pay yourself through the startup phase with very low or little risk. Call me now. I'm Bruce Krebs at 423-875-5621. And make sure to listen to the Entrepreneur Hour every other Wednesday from 11 to 12 o'clock. Call me now, 875-5621.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. Lieutenant Governor Ron Ramsey announced on Wednesday that he will not be seeking re-election to another 4-year term in the state Senate this November. His term as Speaker of the Senate will expire on the second Tuesday in January of 2017. He said, "I stand before you today to announce that I will not be seeking another 4-year term to the state Senate." The CPD arrested multiple known gang members in possession of firearms overnight last night. There were apparently 3 incidents resulting in 5 arrests and the seizure of 4 firearms. Cocaine and marijuana was also found at one of the sites. Police say that all of those taken into custody are validated gang members, except for one who is in possession of a firearm but not a gang member. The chief of police, Fred Fletcher, said that these officers did an outstanding job catching these criminals. "I'm confident our officers prevented shootings from happening last night." In Catoosa County, 4 candidates are now vying for the Catoosa County Tax Commissioner position after Sandra Self has announced after 4 terms she will be retiring. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Looking good out there through the afternoon with some sunshine, warming up nicely, highs 73 to 75 tonight. Milder under fair skies, lows lower 50s. More warm spring-like weather ahead for the midweek, becoming breezy but dry through Thursday with highs back into the mid-70s. Did you know that your car talks to you? Are you listening? All those beeps, vibrations, and light-up icons are your car's way of communicating to help you be a safer driver. Learn more now at mycardoeswhat.org. And I'm Swargene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Nooganomics.com is a slap of fresh air, a 2x4 across the brain every morning. Read Nooganomics.com to find out what's happening in Chattanooga. Local-centric, Nooga-centric. Read it. The man who matters does. You should too. Nooganomics.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
We're back on the Patriot Prepper Show. Our intro music is the one and only Indiana Jones, and I think they're coming out with a 5th one or a 12th one this year or something.
Really?
Indy
No
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
No. Please no.
Well, I think they've got to bring him back from the dead because Harrison Ford is about
72 or 70. Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. He'll be in the wheelchair. Well, we were talking a little bit before the break about distractions, the distractions of politics. We've also got a lot of other distractions that are out there. We've got pretty much everything that's on the mainstream media. I just can't even watch that anymore. The mainstream newspapers, they're not covering what's really important. They don't cover in detail the economic news that's out there. We're heading over a cliff, just like we were in 2008, 2001. We're following the same trends economically. You're not going to get that news from the mainstream media, nor are you going to get what China is up to out there. You're not going to get the story about what Putin and Russia are doing and their pullout from Syria. It's not because they lost, it's because they won overwhelmingly, and they're doing an end run on the U.S. politically. You can do some searches out there. If you go to zerohedge.com, what is it? I can't even think of it. SHTF plan.com. There you go. I had to spell it out in my head.
SHTF plan.com.
NooganomicsNetwork.com.
You'll start seeing some of the real news that's out there. The NCAA basketball tournament, you get sucked into that thing so deeply because you've picked some teams for your office bracket. If you're a basketball fan, or if it's a great distraction, but don't let it distract you from the things that are really important.
And we do want them to be distracted tonight at 7:10 p.m. because that's when the Chattanooga Mocs, your hometown Chattanooga Mocs, tango on the Indiana Hoosiers in, I think it's Des Moines, Iowa, or somewhere in Iowa. Anyway, they're going to be traveling up there, and they have a 29-5 record. That's your hometown Mocs. So make sure you get distracted just for that ball game, and then the heck with everybody else.
Yeah, so take care of your family. That's what you need to be working on right now. You've got a lot of beautiful weather. Spring starts Sunday officially, but boy, it started a week ago. We've got fantastic weather. You can be out there. You can practice your skills with camping. Take your family out.
Hey, Duke, I don't want to interrupt you, but somebody just tweeted me and said, what is the NCAA? If you do not know what the NCAA is, then you will not be watching the basketball game this evening. In fact, maybe you should take one of those nice springtime walks, walk toward the lake and keep walking and walking. And when you hit the lake, keep walking and walking.
It's on just about every cable channel. So lots of basketball going on. Where I was going was, this is the perfect opportunity to work on some of your skills. If you have camping gear, you need to dig it out, dust it off, put it to good use. Find out if it still works, if it's serviceable. Find out if your sleeping bag keeps you warm at night, or if it's too cold. Are you getting too hot and you need a higher rated sleeping bag for a higher temperature instead of a lower temperature? There are a lot of things that you can do. You can get out and go camping. As I said, you can go hiking. You can combine the two. Hiking is great exercise. There was an article, I can't remember, it's probably last year about this time, that had the top 10 hiking trails in the Chattanooga area. We have some beautiful scenery. There's a lot of things that are available to you through.
And then we have all different kinds of trails.
Right.
From the novice to the expert. We're very fortunate.
Check out a lot of different waterfalls, and there are festivals in different communities. I remember there's one in North Alabama. I don't remember the exact town, but they have a cornbread festival.
That's in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee.
There you go.
I can tell you about that. But if you don't think that I have not had a piece of cornbread in my life, buddy.
We'll save that one. We'll do a live broadcast.
I meant to say in the first hour, if you go by the store now, P5 Preparedness, and it's right there off of East Brainerd Road. If you get off East Brainerd Road 75 and you're going east on East Brainerd Road toward Gun Barrel, there's a huge, cool looking Army truck up there that says P5 Preparedness. Go in there. I would say now between about 12:30, if you really want to make an impact, go in with a cup of coffee and say, Seth, here is your coffee, and I bring it to you. We have a caller on the line. Hello, caller. You are on Hot News Talk Radio, the P5 Preparedness Show.
Hey, Uncle Judd, we missed you.
No, thank you so much. And I hope you're happy that I have your write-in campaign going on for President of the United States. I'm asking everybody to put it out on Twitter. Confederate Mike for President. Put it on their Twitter. Put it on their Facebook. We want you to be president.
The other week, and it is just the coolest thing in the world. You have got to see it. You walk in, there's big solar panels and the pond with the plants, some from Phillies, I don't know those fancy names, aquaponic or whatever, and all sorts of unique stuff. I'm not even going to talk about it over the phone. You just got, first of all, you can't belong to the Guy Club until you've gone to P5. That makes you an official man. Once you've gone there and you checked everything out, you have a little discussion as to what's going on, then you get your man's club card. You don't get your man club's card through basketball, because I'm sick of going through the channels and seeing these guys put a ball in a hoop. I mean, seriously.
Well, you know what? I think right now you're carrying, you're going to be carrying the big vote there in Indiana and North Carolina. Confederate Mike will carry that because in Kentucky, they could care less about basketball in those states.
Yeah, but I do love your sports, guys. I love about Colin Cowherd and your real sports like football. The real sports are good.
And NASCAR.
What's that?
And NASCAR is a real sport.
I think P5 should have like a wrestling thing in there. Put a mat down and put some guys wrestling. I think that would attract people. I think Duke should be the first one to challenge. And then if you beat Duke, then you challenge that guy. But, I would like to see you and Duke actually go at it.
Well,
I think that would draw people in.
If it was a pizza buffet, maybe we'll go over to Jet's Pizza and
have an eating contest.
We'll have an eating contest. That's better what I'm suited for these days. But we have had self-defense classes there. We've thrown the mats down in the back room. It's a little tight. You can't have a lot of people involved in that. But yeah, we've done that. And
always being facetious. You really do that.
Self-defense
cool.
is one of the things that everybody should know how to do. Yeah, absolutely. You got to take
stop
care
at
of
a P5 and check it out. It's really cool.
And
Tonight is your meeting tonight?
Yeah, it's at 6:45. You need to come to that. They'd love to see you there. A great network meeting. You come in whether you're a novice or you're an old pro, whatever it is, and they're gonna do a war games.
I love that. Well, why don't you Periscope it for a little bit? We'd love to see it on Periscope. Maybe that'll entice us in.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We could do that. The only thing with that is that one of the things that and thank you for the call. I appreciate it. One of the things that we talk about at P5 is OPSEC, operational security. We don't use your real name if you don't want us to use it. We try and keep you out of pictures. And I think Periscope is a great tool, but there's a lot of folks that are at those meetings that they're not going to want to be on camera. And so we'll have to figure something out because I think it's an important tool, as I said, but we're going to want to protect the people that are in the meetings. But the caller brought up aquaponics, and that's one of my topics today. So that was a perfect segue for that. The concept of aquaponics is you have a water tank that holds fish. And on top of that, you have a rock bed. We use Tennessee River rock for it. You don't want soil because that'll clog up the filter. It'll go down into the water. It could hurt the fish. And so we have a rock bed where the plants are grown, and the plants are vegetables. So we're growing fish for food. We're growing vegetables for food indoors. And we have a grow light, and that grow light provides all the same type of light that the plants need, just as sunshine. So we can grow our food indoors. And there's a water pump and a light that's powered. It's not powered by solar in our store right now, but it could be. And we would love to have the solar panels put up outside, but because of where our store is in the shopping center that it's in, we're not allowed to do that. And so we use just good old 110 AC that comes out of the wall. But the power that we're using is in such amounts that it would be very easy to hook it up to solar power. And we can build those systems for you. We've got the panels, we've got the batteries, the charge controllers, and the inverters, and we can design a system that would be right for you. I had a customer that came in earlier this week that was interested in powering a water pump for her well using solar power. And that is exactly the kind of system that we can design for you. We're more than happy to do that. You may not go with us, but by all means, we'll talk with you. And give us a call at the store. The phone number is 423-602-2175. And you can text us on that number. We'll be happy to text you back. People text us all the time about products that have come in. We do special orders for customers. Then it could be a large food order. It could be tactical gear in a different style than what we have in store. And we can order that right away for you. We're always ready to help you.
And as the caller said, it's a cool store. But the aquaponics to me is pretty neat. You can go in and actually see it working. They built it from scratch. And they have that working. Also, they have on the solar panels, they have kind of a portable unit that they can build for you. So if you wanted to maybe keep your solar panels in your garage, and then when something happens, you can roll it out. That way everyone doesn't know that your house is solar powered.
That goes right back to OPSEC. You don't want everybody to know what you have and what you're doing.
Explain what OPSEC is.
OPSEC, operational security. You want to not tell everybody what's going on. Hey, do you tell your kids everything that goes on? No, that's operational security. It's kind of like one of those things. It's on a need to know basis.
Just pretend you're not on Facebook, so you don't need to tell everybody anything. I want to remind everybody right quick, because it's 50% off for our callers, for all of our listeners, right?
Yeah, 50% off all of our classes.
Okay.
Yes.
We have on the 19th, you got the bug out bag. It's what you really need to know, what you don't know, and what to pack. This is their most popular class. That's this Saturday. And Seth's going to be in charge of that. Then on Tuesday, you have essential oils, and that's just not for chicks, okay? We're not talking about like chickens. We're talking about women. It's oils that have healing power, maybe to help your digestion. I mean, all kinds of good stuff.
It can clear your sinuses. Yeah. It can get rid of headaches.
That's Tuesday the 22nd. Next Saturday, a week from this Saturday on the 26th, We have tactical trauma with Dr. David Powers, a dynamic teacher. He is a doctor, and he's going to show you some life-saving things that you could need. And then on the 2nd of April, the one and only Mr. Duke Nukem himself is going to be teaching the first aid CPR. And this will actually get your certification. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
Yep, certification through the National Safety Council.
You can go to the website and see all this stuff. Make sure you call. You may say, well, you can't go this weekend, but get in these classes.
What would you do with all
One
that
thing that you're going to want to do is, the tactical trauma class is very important. And you know what? I would encourage everybody that drives a motorcycle, maybe you ride the motorcycle. Yeah. That is, other than war injuries, that is one of the most common ways to lose a limb, to have a traumatic amputation. And when that happens, the majority of deaths are from bleeding out. You need to have a tourniquet on your bike. You need to have one at least in your group. You need to have a first aid kit. This is the perfect time. There's a lot of poker runs that are going on for the bikers. Those are great activities. Most of that money goes to charity. And by all means, put together a first aid kit. Have the skills that you need, because by knowing how to use that tourniquet, and we sell the combat tourniquets that are very popular. That's one of our highest selling items, that and the Sawyer water filter. You don't necessarily have to have one of those. Those are fantastic to use, but if you have proper training, you could use a belt or a rope or something else as a tourniquet. But the most important thing is knowing how to use it, because once you put that tourniquet on, you cannot release it. You can't take it back off. That could lead to something called compartment syndrome, which is, you can look that up, but that can be just as fatal as bleeding out.
Hey, and these classes fill up in a hurry, and they have limited spaces. I mean, when I say limited, they got a nice classroom setting, but it's very limited, and they kind of keep it limited because they want you to have the opportunity to get feedback and learn. So give them a call to sign up for one of their classes, or you can text them at 423-602-2175. That's 602-2175, or you can go to p5preparedness.com, and that's P and the number 5 preparedness.com. You can sign up there too. Make sure you don't want to miss these classes. You don't want to miss the bug out bag class. You don't want to miss the first day. You don't want to miss any of them. So just give them a call down at the store right now.
While we're talking about skills that you need to know, there have been a few cases in the last 2 weeks here in the local Chattanooga area where there have been very unfortunate gun accidents. There was a little boy that was killed. He was playing in the minivan, and I guess he found a gun under the seat. I'm assuming it was a pistol, and a little 3-year-old shot and killed himself accidentally. And then I think it was yesterday, there was another shooting where a 19-year-old was in, or a 22-year-old, something like that, 19. Man was in one room. I guess he was cleaning his gun or something, and he had a negligent discharge, and he shot through the wall accidentally, and he shot a girl in the neck, a 19-year-old, and she died. And in those cases, sometimes people have said an accidental discharge, and there's no such thing. It's a negligent discharge.
Right.
Guns just don't go off by themselves. It doesn't matter if you leave the gun in the car, the truck, the ammunition's not just going to suddenly go off. If it does, it would explode. It wouldn't just fire down the barrel. The point here is that you have to secure your guns. You have to have the training and know-how to clean the gun, to care for the gun, to make sure that it's loaded or unloaded. Store it in a safe location away from children. There have been many instances where children are killed by firearms, and the rule in the house was, you don't touch that gun. I've dealt with this in raising my children. I have 3 boys, and the difference between my spouse, my wife would say, don't cross the street. Don't ever cross the street because you could get hit by a car. Well, she's absolutely right in that. But I don't want to put my kids in a position where they have to lie or they're not familiar with the consequences. I would rather teach my child to look both ways before they cross the street. If you're curious about what's on the other side of the street beyond the houses, well, let's walk over there and take a look. Let's get that curiosity out of there.
I thought you were going to tell them to run real fast if they did.
Well, I would rather my children learn to be safe,
right,
and then learn to lie.
Yeah,
because
no, you're right.
I know from my experience as a youth growing up in Fort Lauderdale, I did all kinds of things that I wasn't supposed to do, but I knew really quickly. I learned very early on not to lie to my parents or not to get caught lying, and so I learned how to lie. And that covered me, so that way I could do what I wanted, and then I lied about it, and I was fine. So I thought. The point with guns is that a lot of these children are curious about guns because they have never experienced what a gun does. If you take your child out to the gun range and you show them what a gun can do, you put a watermelon or a cantaloupe, something out there, or a bottle, and you show them what it can do. And I'm not talking about necessarily, letting a 3-year-old shoot a gun. But you have to, at a certain age, you've got to make the decision to lock that gun up for your children. I know a lot of people like to keep that loaded gun next to the bed in case there's an intruder at night. Well, if you're going to do that, you better make darn sure your children are not curious about the firearm that's in there. The best thing to do is to have it in a gun safe, some kind of secure area. The point is, people, training, get trained. You yourself need to be trained on how to use a firearm. And you know what? P5 preparedness offers a lot of training. We've done basic gun safety classes. There are things that we know how to do that we may not necessarily have a class for it. If you need to know how to do something, come in and ask.
Yes.
We can, if we can't do it, for instance, martial arts, self-defense, knife fighting, those are things that we don't do. We haven't had a big enough customer base that's asked for that. But we know certified, qualified trainers that can teach you that kind of thing.
The guys at P5 are excellent resource. Think of them as your Google. That they are your Chattanooga preparedness Google is what they are. So go in. You want to see the store? Absolutely beautiful store. It's really cool how it's laid out. But you want to talk to Seth and Keith and to the one and only, the greatest of all, Duke. Right. So see, you come in and you talk to them, and you know what? You're going to ask questions, and they're probably going to bring up things you didn't think to ask for, and they're going to educate you. And they love doing it. It's not, you're not a bother to them. They absolutely love doing it. And I said before, this is an excellent resource we have in Chattanooga. P5 preparedness is just amazing.
One thing that I read this morning, actually, in my show prep, was that the Pentagon, the Defense Department, is preparing for underground warfare. And we've got mega cities. A mega city is defined as having 10 million people or more living in that city. So we don't really have any in the United States right now. New York is close at 8 million people. But what this is for, there are a lot of underground structures. You think about subway systems, train systems, transportation systems. There's a whole complex network in some of these larger cities. And so the government is preparing for these underground locations. A lot of preppers have underground locations. And there's been one in that you can see right now in a survival type person in the movie 10 Cloverfield Lane. So
that's correct.
Why don't you talk a little bit about
and we
that?
don't have time. I will get into, maybe next week we'll talk about our great interview with John Goodman, but I've seen the movie. If you are thinking about being prepared, if you just want to be prepared for everyday life, and this movie, it's a movie, it takes it to extreme, but it shows how the person that's prepared is ready for anything. And I mean, there are things where in the movie, I'm talking about products that you can go to P5 right now and purchase. And it's a good movie. It has some twists and turns. You're going to think it's one way and it's the other. But he does have an underground bunker, and it's, got the air filtration system. It's got its water filtration system. But you see how he's prepared with his food. You see how he's prepared to get rid of his waste. If something goes wrong, how he's prepared, for like the classes you have coming up, not only first aid, but a trauma type situation. And he keeps he keeps things that y'all have in the store at P5.
Right.
You will see that throughout the movie. So it's an entertaining movie. It's a very loud movie. I don't know why they did that. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know.
For the hearing impaired, you got to be prepared too.
Yeah. If you're not hearing impaired,
going in, you will be coming out. But no, I mean, it's a good movie. It's got a good plot. It's got some good twists. But I was watching it and really noticing, because of my interview with Mr. Goodman, was that, wow, look at here. And he told me, he said, one of the things, he goes, I kind of, say that these people are quacks and crooks and all of that, because that's, what he thought. He said, but once I got into this role, he said, man, he goes, I need to be prepared now. And he is starting to prepare himself. So maybe this, if you're thinking about it, you've even heard about it, this will be a good way to push it over the edge for you.
And, if you go back 30 or 40 years, the U.S. was very prepared for a nuclear war, for nuclear fallout. There were community bomb shelters. There were individuals that were putting bomb shelters in their backyard or in their basement. And somehow we've forgotten all about that. But North Korea, if you just look at what they're doing, they're practicing with nukes. They talk about having miniaturized nukes. And what a miniaturized nuke does is allow one rocket to carry multiple warheads. They've threatened us with an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse. And so, they've put nothing into their infrastructure. You see those maps of the lights on the globe, and how North Korea is the darkest country in the world when it comes to cities with lights.
Right.
And so why is that? Maybe it's because they do intend to be a first strike. And, China condemns them now, but, hey, we got to prepare for this kind of stuff, folks. If you go back to the 60s, I talked about this a little bit before. There was a concept of mutually assured destruction. Look that up. That really sunk us.
Hey, and right quick,
So,
50% off all classes at P5 Preparedness. Go to the website, p5preparedness.com. That's P5preparedness.com. Give them a call, 423-602-2175. The classes will fill up, 602-2175. And
anyway, just to finish up real quick, there's all sorts of things that are out there. Enjoy the spring weather. Go out there and prepare. Learn some new skills. It's okay to fail now. The important thing is you don't fail later. Have a great week.